Generally, you'll see that consumers, viewers, if you will, are interested in some of the types of commercials that ran in the past. So babies are big, obviously, through E-Trade. Chimpanzees are back with the Career Company, and there'll be lots of good-looking women in many of the other spots. So it'll be business as usual, 1950s here in 2011. I think humor is the kind of creative execution that will be the most predominant form for many of the commercials, not all, of course. You've got a very loud environment, you've got a very cluttered environment, you really try and stand out through the sense of humor that you develop for your brand and through the creative execution. When you're watching with friends and when you're watching in party locations, it's just a great way to begin to spread the word over something that's funny and humorous and captures everybody's attention. It's something that spans, if you will, all demographic groups and appeals to many people. I think social media this year will be much more influential than ever before. Obviously, the growth of Twitter and the continuing growth of Facebook has more and more users. People are sharing more and more of the media that they favor. The Super Bowl, of course, attracts so much attention. Brands are now beginning to build campaigns around the social media and the ads that they run during the game. It's probably the most intelligent thing that brands have done in a long time, and the ones like Mercedes is running a giveaway contest, which is very unusual for an upscale brand like that, and Kia is running a giveaway contest. Imagine the contrast, huh? So I think you're going to see more and more brands continuing to develop a relationship through their Twitter and Facebook feeds and to really build their continuity of strategy around that so that they get really the big play up, if you will, during the game, and that there's a continuum prior to and, of course, afterwards, which is really where the benefit of using the Super Bowl comes through, is gaining your awareness and then being able to carry that forward after the game. I think companies that put up their ads prior to the game, whether it be on YouTube or other sites, are doing it in hopes that they will generate some buzz, as the term obviously is used nowadays, to get people excited. I think often the marketers will talk about having consumers advocate for their brand because they get excited about it and they really like the spot and they want to tell their friends and they want to share prior to the game. And so I think one of the caveats is that you want people to see the spot come on during the game and then tell everybody to shush and watch it together because you've been advocating for this particular spot for the last, if you will, week or a few days. So I think if it's done well, if it's a good spot and attracts attention, obviously, and people respond to it favorably, it's a real good strategy. It doesn't work for everybody because it depends upon the kind of product or service that you're advertising, and it depends on the message that you've got. If you've got a good idea and people get excited about it, why not run it before? Because you're sure as heck going to run it a lot afterwards. It's often difficult to tell whether a spot is really worth the investment because you're paying, obviously, for the purchase of the media time. Your production expenses are well over $1 million. I mean, if you're constructing an entertainment piece, why don't you just do an independent film and enter it in Sundance? The idea is to sell product. Are you selling product through a Super Bowl ad? Well, in some cases you are, but in other cases it's entertainment. But it can be valid, positive entertainment because you're building brand awareness and, if you will, brand buzz out there in the marketplace. It really is dependent upon each particular advertiser. Clearly, if you're a GoDaddy.com and you know that people are going to go to your server and you can count the clicks, then it's a terrific endeavor because you've either been wildly successful or a dismal failure. When you just take a particular survey like the USA Today survey, which comes out every Monday, and use that as a measure, I'm not quite sure that's the most appropriate thing to do, and it certainly doesn't have anything to do with sales. So I think if you can quantify sales, quantify awareness, it's a terrific investment. I think one of the concerns that you have to have as an advertiser is the amount of clutter out there. Advertising Age did a piece just last week that noted that there were 48 minutes of advertising, of commercial time during the Super Bowl last season, and they finally broke 100 messages during a game. How much of a benefit can that be to an advertiser when you have that much clutter? Plus, 17% of those commercials, as noted by that article, were television network promos. Now, obviously, networks want the Super Bowl so they can promote their programs, but there comes a point of no return when consumers are beginning to turn off the third or fourth time they see a promotion for another program coming up, either later that night, which is the worst thing to do, or later in the season. It does a disservice to the real advertisers who are paying that money, but obviously with the investment that networks have to make to be able to carry the NFL games and, of course, the Super Bowl, that's their way of getting a return on their investment. But clutter is clearly a factor and a problem, and I wonder if advertisers one day will say, enough is enough. If I'm going to pay this kind of money, maybe you should give me a little bit more leverage in terms of when and how my ads appear.